Hello, everybody, and welcome back to General Geekery. With me, as always, is JD. I don't know. We don't have a guest, so I don't know which way to point on this. For me,
Ryan's this
here.
way on my screen.
Yeah, so JD's either here, he's here, he's here. I don't know.
That way. But one thing I did, I got a couple of figures in the mail, and I want to review them. But I posted a few videos of me trying to do solo unboxing, solo reviews. It's a chore,
And
I always hate it.
Before you start on that,
yeah, what's up?
I wanted to say, just let everybody know that our challenge, our custom challenge, is progressing. We will both be ready for the reveal in October. Both of 2 weeks. Both of my figures are complete. I need to finish one accessory and seal the accessories and print the cards.
I need to the figures are both done. The gear, I have to decide which ones, which gear is just not gonna fly, because there was some stuff, some ideas that I had early on, and I started gathering up accessories, and it got to the point where I actually had too many, and I need to figure out which ones, based on the finished figure, which of these things actually really goes, and which of these can go back in the parts, the accessories boxes. But I wasn't entirely happy with the efforts that I put in last year. Brian's tried to reassure me that he liked them, but
I liked them a lot.
There were parts, there were things that I did like about them, but things that, looking back, I feel like I could have done better on. And I don't think I'm gonna have so much that problem with these, because I really, before I decided on these, I really started putting some ideas in, and I'm like, yeah, I think I'm happy with these, and I think Brian's gonna be happy with them.
I think my first one, people are gonna see it and they're gonna say I'm gonna say mediocre. I mean, it looks like something I would make. You know, it's gonna look like one of my run-of-the-mill customs.
It would be weird if it didn't look like one of your customs.
Yeah, but I mean, like, stereotypical.
There's nothing wrong with that. I happen to like your customs that you make.
However,
I happen to be a fan of the pros from Dover.
However, my second one, oh man.
I'm pretty happy with both of mine. Now that the recipes are, I had a change that I had to do the other day because I put the figures together.
I'm looking at it right now, and yeah, I mean, it's the parts that I chose were, I mean, it's straight Marauder. I'll tell you, it's straight Marauder.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that, because Marauder makes some decent stuff.
So. Holy crap! It's the idea behind it, and oh man, yeah, I'm really happy with the second one.
I'm this time. Last year, I wrote up file cards for them, but they were last minute, and I didn't have time to print them up this year. I've got them written up, but I'm going to get them printed, so I'm going to bring them with me so I can show them on the. But I'm going a little crazy with these, just like I like to do. But yeah, I'm much happier with these efforts than I was with the ones last year. I mean, and not the ones I did last year were not terrible.
No,
I know I called them in the shit show the other day, but that's because there were a few aspects of them and just like, why? But why though? Not so much on these. I'm pretty happy with them. So we're getting there, but yeah, just a few weeks, just 2 weeks until I'm in Colorado. Because my girlfriend and I were meeting, we're going to her brother's wedding, and then shortly after that, I'm gonna stay at Brian's house for like 2 days. So yeah, get there, we're gonna do the podcast reveal. So we're getting there.
We're gonna try.
Time's ticking down.
I'm gonna try and do a mini. I mean, we called it a convention last time, since it was during Joe Fest, but it was coronavirus. Neither of us wanted to go. I'm going to try and do a local convention for the guys here. So hopefully there'll be a bunch of us here to geek out over G.I. Joe stuff.
Well, it would be cool. But
I don't know.
today I wanted to review some figures. I got some figures in the mail. I don't like doing solo reviews. I've tried. I've shot videos. Half the time they don't get posted because I'm just like, really? Who's gonna watch this? I don't even want to watch this. And
Right.
unboxings, I don't find them to be a lot of fun. But what I have enjoyed is the way Brian and I we have experimented with dual reviews where he reviews a thing and I review a thing. And even though he's not reviewing a thing, I've got two things to review. But what I really enjoy is everything I hate about the solo version, I enjoy doing as a conversation between Brian and I. So it is a review, but I always like his criteria for the reviews. And I was fucking up if I tried to do it by myself. So we're gonna do this with Brian kind of interview slash review, I guess. So
All right. So,
but I got a deal. I went looking for retro stuff on what's up.
So JD's got a couple figures to review, and they are from the G.I. Joe retro line.
Yeah. Last week I was on, well, because somebody had posted a deal on Facebook where they had all the retro stuff for one price. And even though I didn't need all the retro stuff, it got me curious about some of the retro pieces, some of which I've never seen in the store. Well,
I've never seen any of it in the store.
Well, okay. I've seen Duke now twice. God, that figure is shit. And I mean, I have my blue his tank. I've got my, but I had to order it. But in the process of just looking through, some of the retro stuff is really expensive, and some of it's really not. Duke's not, but that's because again, that figure is it's garbage. Cobra Commander's not that expensive, but it's a re-release of the Ultimate one from the Retaliation line. Well, some of them are really like Scarlet is stupid expensive. You can't find one. Buy it now for under $70 with or without shipping. You can't find one.
I think that's just because of poor distribution. I think it's a horrible figure.
It probably. I mean, it might be poor distribution. Roadblock is. He's not nearly that expensive, but him and Destro, they're going for decent prices. Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow are still expensive, but I don't think that has anything to do with anything except that they're Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow. And most every modern
at the Comic-Con a couple weeks ago, and they wanted $40 for it. I'm like,
yeah, I mean, I know initially they chose those two first because they had just announced the movie, even though it was nowhere near coming out. I think they wanted the hype around it, but really, Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow in the modern line and the vintage line, they're always expensive. They're popular Avatar characters. People are always going to go after them.
They were good figures too.
Well, and yes, and they were good figures that got a retro re-release. And the retro versions, they're expensive. They're not Scarlet, but they are expensive. The Cobra Trooper is too, but again, distribution may or may not be better, but people are army building them.
Yeah.
But
I'm glad I got mine from Walmart.
But
I got a Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow from Grogan. I customized both of those. I got a Destro loose. I customized that. I got a Stalker and a Cobra Trooper. Then I haven't done anything with them. They're just sitting up on my on the deck of my flag with the rest of my collection right now.
I've seen Duke, and I one time saw that Destro figure that was beat to shit in the stores, but otherwise I don't see any of this shit in the store. I do have Stalker.
I would get another Destro figure if I could find it.
But yeah, I mean he's not crazy expensive, but he's going for decent money. I'm glad that I have the 50th version, so I don't have to get the retro one. I do have Stalker, but I got back when Walmart put them online for that collector convention or whatever, Brian and I both ordered Stalker.
Yeah.
And so I've had him and he's dynamite. But as I was browsing through the retro stuff on eBay, I found a surprisingly good deal on a set of 3 for 65 shipped. They had Lady J, who I haven't seen in the store. It's not as much of a re-release as the 50th version as I thought. Like the green is definitely a little darker than it was on the 50th version.
Okay.
Paint
I
job's a
like
little
that figure.
different.
I think it's a good figure.
No, it's a great figure. It's like I said, it's not quite as close to the 50th as just being a repackage of the 50th anniversary version as I thought it was going to be. But so I got that.
I really want one for a custom. Rye One did a piece of art, and I did a custom based off his art where she's in like tactical gear, like body armor, and like
Yeah, I remember that custom. Yeah.
I would like to revisit that and do it again.
Yeah, I mean,
And that's a
if you need
beautiful.
if you need a decent Lady J, this
Yeah.
one is. In fact, looking at it on the camera, the green is actually lighter and brighter than it actually is, where it's darker and a little more. It's not quite Crayola green, but it's a lighter version of that. I don't know why, for some reason on the camera, it looks closer to being like the original Lady J colors, because no, she's not that bright.
Yeah, no, I mean, if I could find them, I would pick one up for a custom in a heartbeat, and I'd probably pick up a second one just to because I have a vintage Lady J. So I would, and what I've done on my deck of my flag, you can't see it here because I've moved the flag with my figure collection out of this room because this is my customizing room. So everything, all my like collectible stuff is getting moved out of this room because I'm customizing in here. So everything is getting airbrush and Dremel dust on it to the point.
Yeah, because you said you pulled out the demon a couple weeks ago and realized that it was just caked in dust.
Yeah, and
the one that you did that big restoration on last year, and you said it looked like crap because it had the Dremel shavings all over it.
I had to restore it. I had to do the whole thing over again. I had to take it apart, clean it, and do the 3-step polish again. But but I have a vintage. So what I've done is I take if I have the vintage figure, I put the nicest version that I have of that character next to it.
Yeah.
On the deck. So I've got like my Heat Viper with the 50th Heat Viper, and then the vintage Saw Viper next to the two updates that I have of them. And I have a vintage Lady J that I got when I bought that collection a few years ago. I would get one of those and set it next to that, and I would like another one to customize to revisit that Rye One custom.
Well, I like the 50th version, but this definitely has a better paint job. And I don't just mean colors, but you could tell that the attention to detail with the paint was better than it was on the 50th version. But I'm not reviewing it simply because, other than being surprised at the coloring, I'm like, I don't. She's one of my favorite characters.
Right.
But the rest of the deal here is I had to. Grunt and the Cobra officer. $65 shipped for all three figures, whom I'm never gonna see in a store ever. Yeah. There's no way I could pass it up. I have a Grunt pre-ordered from Walmart that I pre-ordered at the same time I got Stalker. But I can always use a second one. So if they end up canceling it, I've still got Grunt. But if they don't, well, I can customize another member of the original 13.
Or you can send it to me because I'll never see it.
Okay, sure. Yeah, we can do that. Sure. We'll have to negotiate, but I'm going to unbox them and review them right here. Oh, yeah.
All right, so one of the first things that I like to do is
I love the Hector Garrido art. It's gorgeous, and I love this, and I love seeing it again.
He's talking about the packaging. So, yeah, the card art looks fantastic. I am not a fan of the file cards that they're doing in the multi. I get the multicultural thing, and they're just saving money.
I like that they put the file card information. I mean, it says his file name is Robert W. Graves, as it is infantry trooper, primary military primary specialty. It's not primary military, it's primary specialty, infantry, secondary specialty, small arms armorer, artillery coordinator. The small arms armorer was always there. Artillery coordinator. Okay, that's a new one. And then the rest of it isn't different. And I do understand selling them in multiple languages because this is for international distribution.
Yeah.
I don't like the fact that they give us all the bullet points in, but we don't get anything else beyond that. And I
think that
get
was,
it.
and I think that was like half of the draw of the figure when I was a kid. It was I looked at the card art. Was the card art cool enough to draw me in to look at the figure? Was the figure cool enough for me to draw me in to look at the file card to see really how cool this character is? And I remember putting back figures. I'm like, this guy's a putz. You read the file card when I was a kid. I'm like, this guy's a dipshit. I don't want this.
Wow,
It had nothing to do with what the figure looked like. I read the file card. File card was a huge selling point for me as a kid.
Well, when I was a kid and the vintage stuff was in the stores, I was a lot younger than Brian. The file cards came along for me a little later, but I never turned down a free Joe when I was a kid. But
I'm not saying turn down a free Joe. I'm just like, I'll pick a different one.
Yeah. No, but I mean, I'm saying I don't think there were any that I ever put back, but there were definitely some I took a shine to and some that not so much.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, God, that Hector Garrido art is just gorgeous. What I'm glad they did here, remember in the 25th anniversary line, they had almost copies of, like, they took their Hector Garrido original art, but then somebody would repaint the whole thing. And so you could tell it wasn't his, but you could tell it was inspired by. Well, I'm really glad these retro figures are using his original art.
Yeah, I love the Hector Garrido art. That's what I use on all of my customs is the Hector Garrido art.
And that's the way to go. I'm really glad that they didn't go with the somebody painted a new version for because I remember a lot of merchandise that I've seen over the years would have like a figure lineup and it would be this art, but it wasn't this art. It was the 25th art. And there's a noticeable difference.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm glad to see the original art here.
But the only other thing I have to say about the packaging is I don't like the fact that it's so flimsy either. And we've talked about this before. These things, I hate to speculate. I hate to be that guy that does the speculation, but these things are gonna, anything that's gonna have a mint card, these things are gonna be they're gonna be expensive. They're expensive now and they're just gonna go up because there are going to be so few of these that are not damaged.
Yeah, I don't know if they were I don't know if they would have called them mint when I pulled them out because again they were reshipped to me, but they were but just opening them, I creased the cards on both. But
oddly enough, the Hector Garrido art they did change on the Cobra officer because if you look at the sigil, it's red.
Oh, and it looks like they markered over
it. Mentioned it last night. Somebody mentioned it to me last night.
Yeah, like they colored it in over and wow, that does not look good.
No.
Wow.
Somebody's really, like, hey, why is this red? I'm like, maybe it's because they're trying to base it off the JCPenney's figures, but then I went back and looked at that JCPenney set and the officer had a silver sigil.
Yeah, it was silver. Yeah, that's weird. Did they ever wait? They never sold
a Cobra officer that did have a red sigil, but it was way later in the line.
Yeah, that's weird.
Packs.
That's weird. I wouldn't have taken that close of a look at had you not.
And
you're right. It's badly
I haven't
done.
seen it, but somebody posted it. And
yeah,
I'm like, huh, that is interesting.
Yeah, I don't think the camera will pick up on it that well, but I mean, you could see it.
You can see that it's red and it should be silver, which I think is is interesting.
But you can't. The quality of it is pretty bad. But,
yeah, it doesn't translate well into the camera.
All right, so which one do you want me to start with to review?
Let's look at the Cobra. Since we're talking about the Cobra officer, let's talk about it. Let's have a look at the Cobra officer, and then have it on screen so people can see it.
Do you want these bubbles? Do you need them? for your customs? Okay.
No.
All right, so I'll start with Cobra Officer.
He does have a silver sigil on the.
Yes, he does.
Nice.
I don't think I would have noticed the sigil in the art had you not mentioned it, but I'm glad that I don't know why they changed it because the figure has the silver.
Yeah,
but I'm glad that it retains the silver and not the red, because I like that. I always thought the silver did a good job of making him stand out from the rest of the troopers, besides just the web gear.
And the helmet had the notch on the helmet too.
In this case, the chevron is just painted.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's not sculpted, it's painted.
I'm gonna say that. I'm gonna give that a thumbs down.
Yeah.
That's just cheap and lazy.
All right. I do see what people mean. This figure, while being a completely new sculpt, head to toe. No, I take that back. The Fang pilot had mostly the same body sculpt with different gear.
Yeah.
And as a huge fan of the 4-inch Fortnite figures, these are a little closer to that format than Fortnite. The boots are a little bit.
I was noticing that.
They're a little larger. And again, as somebody who loves the aesthetics of the Fortnite figures, I like it on this, but I could see where somebody like you who likes the more realistic stuff, like the Joy Toy stuff, where that would turn you off. But yeah, I like it. I mean, it's not ideal, but I like it. The web gear is definitely new, completely new. Thank God, because man, that 25th web gear
on the screen.
Yep, that 25th web gear is horrible.
I hated the 25th web gear. That's not too bad.
And I like that it's got the gray pocket, just like the original.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, it's completely new.
Huh.
And accurate to the design on the vintage version. But it's got some like the canvas texture of the sculpt, like they use on the actual, like the roped canvas that they use for it's here for these in the material. Like you could, like it almost looks like it's the stretchy
there's
the stretchy elastic
sculpt, you're saying.
Huh?
There's texture to the sculpt, you're saying.
Yes. He's got pockets, and I think that's a watch.
Yeah.
On the wrist. That's really weird. That's
on both wrists too.
Oh, you're right. That is a really odd detail.
I noticed that just a minute ago that he's got it on both wrists.
I do not know what that is supposed to be.
Yeah.
That is really strange. I don't know what that is.
You could be a watch on one wrist and a compass on another would be a good, would be interesting.
Yeah, maybe. Weird.
Sort of smart.
I like the sculpt overall. I'm not particularly concerned with the fact that a lot of the details don't match up to the vintage Cobra Officer, because I got the web gear right. The actual, like, the Cobra Officers didn't have knee pads. The soldiers did. But I don't mind that this does, because
I kind of like the knee pads, honestly.
Yeah, in a modern tactical setting, every soldier wears knee pads.
Yeah.
Every military across the world uses knee pads now, so it makes sense. And beyond just the fact that it shares the sculpt with the other figures that they made like this. Yeah, the hands are a little big.
Thigh or the upper thigh swivel.
Yes.
Yeah.
They swivel. The holster is open, so you can put the pistol in and out. Where's the enclosure for the web gear? I don't know, but they've got it disguised pretty well. I mean, I assume that it's got that it can open and close. Oh, maybe not. I wonder if it's one of those things where in order to get it off, you gotta take the figure apart to take the web. Oh, maybe. Yeah, because I don't, which is good because the 25th line was full of those clasps for the web gear and it never sat right.
No,
it would be bulged out because the head on the enclosure for the piece that goes in through the hole, yeah, it's like it's huge.
Yeah,
it's a lot of times, a lot of my 25th stuff, I would chop that down and glue it close because it was
yeah,
bulge out.
And I've talked about that when I've done talking about when I make custom vests, that I'll either glue the vest closed on the figure or I'll design the vest so it sits like it's closed on the figure.
Yep. Most of mine, I will glue them closed because I'd rather not be able to take it off than just have it looking bulbous and misshapen.
And the only time that I haven't, well, I kind of did that, going back to the challenge figures for a second. I did that on the first challenge figure. It comes with a vest, only because I wanted the vest removable because I'm so happy with the paint job underneath. It needed to be removable to see the paint job just at least once.
Gotcha.
I did it all with an airbrush. I didn't hand paint any of it.
Really? Wow. Okay. Well, now I'm looking forward to this. I'll give him this. On the collar, oh, you can't see it. There is some kind of like there's a square or a rhombus rank pin of some sort, like the officers originally had. So that's okay. It's not painted, but that's okay. The details there, it's cool. I am glad that I'm not trying to army build these. It does have a waist swivel,
okay.
and it does have the torso swivel, so he can move both. I mean, with the web gear on, it's not very practical. I don't think you really need to. It restricts it a little bit, but it's nice if you're trying to get a shitload of poses. It is nice. The wrists,
that makes it playable, which is one of the things that I always talk about when I review a figure, is the playability. How playable is it? Is it durable enough to stand up to hard play, and does it have enough articulation to make it fun?
I think so. I'm going to take his.
Oh, and that is definitely one of the things I will. That was my next question: is if he came with a decent AK-47?
This is a new sculpt. It's a little bendy, plastics wise, but it's a new sculpt. It's interesting.
See, and if I get one, he's going to get a Marauder AK.
Yeah, I was going to say he's definitely getting rearmed with a Marauder. AK definitely. I mean, just detail wise, but I also don't like the fact that it's pliable.
I hate bendy weapons.
Yeah, because
bendy weapons don't really. I like the softer plastic because you're not breaking thumbs, but at the same point, they're using softer plastic in the hand, so you're not going to break thumbs to begin with. So
look,
that's horrible.
Yep, holding it, yeah, he can, because the wrists have the hinge on them. He can hold it. He can achieve decent poses, but that weird flexible plastic, yeah, the stock is bent under his, like it's under his arm.
Yeah, no, that screams like
yeah, the
figure to me.
Yeah, the sculpt on the AK-47 is decent, but that plastic is just it's rubbery.
So, yeah. Thumbs up for giving him an AK-47. Thumbs up for it being a new sculpt. Thumbs down for it being a really soft plastic.
Yes. He's got some kind of weird submachine gun. It's
I don't
new.
remember I don't remember what that. Yeah, I don't remember what it's called. I've seen it before, but I don't know what it is. I like the sculpt.
I don't know if the Cobra Trooper comes with one because I don't have one. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. I'm not sure. It's definitely.
I don't know. Because the only thing I've got from my Cobra Trooper sitting right here is the bazooka. So
it's definitely got. The weapon is definitely an all new sculpt. No. I don't recognize it from any other figure.
Here's the Dragunov for the Cobra Trooper.
Yeah, it's bendy as all hell to it.
Yeah.
This weapon, it looks nice, but with the bendy plastic, it takes some doing to get the trigger finger into the trigger guard.
Yeah.
I got it, but it took a lot of. I had to keep trying because the trigger finger kept getting bent out as I would try to.
Yeah.
So once you get in there, he can hold it just fine, but it's not ideal. Okay, now the helmet fits nicely on the head, like easily. Because the chevron is painted, once it's on the head, it's a little cockeyed.
Yeah.
It's not lined up the way it should be. The only other accessory he comes with, well, he's got a stand. It says Cobra Officer, but it uses this huge font on it, which is kind of odd. Like it's a little showier than the font used on the 25th figures, and I kind of prefer the other ones. He has a pistol that's taped down, and again, all new sculpt. Definitely not a previously released. It maybe in this line, maybe the Trooper, I don't know, but it fits nicely in the holster.
That was the one big thing that I always complained about the Joy Toy figures. The pistols that they came with did not fit well in the holster, and I think probably I'd be surprised if a quarter of my guys still have their pistol holstered.
Yeah, you said in most of your Joy Toy reviews, you always mention that it makes you really want to get a shitload of specific Marauder ones.
Yeah,
that'll fit better. But that would take rearming all of them.
Yeah, and I'm probably not going to do that.
So I think he's decent. The pistol is again, same stupid bendy plastic.
Yeah,
sucks. His other accessory, his last accessory, is a mortar.
I was gonna say, I thought he came with a mortar.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, no, he does. It's definitely an all new sculpt.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know how accurate it is to a real life mortar. I've never seen one. It's definitely more realistic than that goofy one that Downtown came with in 1989. It's definitely bulkier, and
I saw one in Afghanistan when I was in Gardez, and it was bigger than I thought it would be.
All right, so because it's entirely possible that the mortar that the original short fuse came with, I think it was actually underscaled.
Yeah, no, when I saw it in Afghanistan, I was like, whoa, okay, that's way bigger than I thought it was.
Yeah, this is, I mean, the bipod folds. It doesn't. Okay, yeah, it disconnects. I don't have any reason to disconnect it, but I wish that this back support piece swiveled too, but it doesn't.
Yeah. They could have put that on like a ball pivot, I think would have been.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah, it doesn't, because it doesn't fold out all the way. It doesn't sit very well. Yeah, it's a little off center. I mean,
that's not one weapon that's going to be you can go to Marauder and just easily replace either.
no,
But then
no,
again, why did do you really need it? The Cobra officer didn't.
no, no. And if you really like mortars, well, there's a little thing called the Vietnam Kickstarter coming out in about a year and a half from Marauder that, yeah, that'll have all the mortars you need. Yeah. But you're right. Does the Cobra officer need this? No. But does this? I don't know what Hasbro plans for the retro line after this, but on the off chance that short fuse isn't planned, this would make, if you're going to use Grunt or Stalker as a base to make a short fuse custom, this is the mortar you need, definitely. It'll go it'll go well with him, because if you look at the original 13 figures, they've already made Stalker and Scarlet and Snake Eyes and Grunt. If you look at the rest of the lineup, the critical ones that they need to do in the retro line, and almost seem to be guaranteed, Rock and Roll is one of them.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of hoping they'll do Flash. I don't know that they will, but
that would be the one I would have said. I was going to say Flash.
I mean, I think Rock and Roll is a guarantee. I think he's a guarantee for the classified line too at some point. But really, Stalker and Rock and Roll are the only two really obvious ones.
Somebody else said Rock
shocked.
and Roll last night too, and I mean, yeah, it's not a bad choice.
I mean, I would be surprised if it didn't, because of the original 13. He was always distinctive because he had the ammo belt, which just nobody else had.
Right.
And it really made him stand out. I'm elated that they gave us Grunt second with this on this new original 13 body. But if you're gonna end up making short fuse, because Hasbro doesn't, of the original 13, short fuse, Grand Slam, Zap, and Clutch seem to be the ones that are more off the beaten. Well, and Hawk too. The original 13 Hawk, I don't think they're going to make a retro version.
I'd like it if they did. Clutch, because I can see him redoing the Vamp.
Well, I think Clutch, if they do the Vamp, is a lock. But if they don't, I don't think he's going to get a carded version.
No, I don't.
Maybe.
Know. I don't.
Maybe, but maybe not.
Vehicle, but you're going to get carded versions.
And Steeler, they're probably not going to do a Mobat, and even if they did a Mobat, I don't know if they would actually use that as an excuse to put a different character in, because Steeler.
So I think they'd still go Steeler. I mean, it's a retro line. Why would you put a new character in a retro line?
Well, yeah, but I could see it being more like, we've only got so many slots that we can put these things in. Let's put Rock and Roll in with the Mobat. No, it wouldn't make any sense, but I could see if they're not doing a carded version as a way to get him into the line in a line of toys that has such limited room to have different releases. I could sort of see it,
which I don't get. I mean, they're 2 or 3 figures per wave. I mean, what is with that?
I mean, I don't understand that either. Ideally, for me, Stalker and Grunt would have come out in one wave, and then immediately following that, we'd get Short Fuse and Zap. I don't know if they're going to. Like I said, I think Rock and Roll will happen, and I'd like to see Flash, because 25th Flash was a shit figure in 2008 when it was released, and every year since then it's aged worse and worse and worse. He's a prime example of why the early 25th stuff was really just wrong from the beginning. Between the tiny hands, the elbows that didn't really bend, and the shit, and the goofy feet, that was all bad. But the chest armor being sculpted to the torso, and I could deal with the chest cut for a lot of the 25th stuff, but not Flash. The way it breaks up the waffle pattern on the it's inexcusable. And every time it was repainted in the 25th line for short fuse or no, excuse me, tripwire used it, Grand Slam used a couple versions from the club. It was terrible every time. I would like to see a retro version of Flash because I'd love to see how they would do the chest, the pads. Like, I'm sure that they'd be, at least a chest pad would be a separate piece, and I would love to see that. But as for the Cobra Trooper, I know you're going to ask, what would I customize on it? I mean, other than the obvious, paint him gray, make it a Stinger driver.
That's where I was going to go. I like Stinger driver. I did a Stinger driver custom a number of years ago. I'm going to do a female Stinger driver. It's on my list.
I had a Stinger driver when I was a kid. It was boring.
I like
still boring. It's a gray Cobra officer. I don't like it. I never liked it. I didn't like the 25th version. I don't care. Yes, you can paint it gray and you can make it a Stinger driver, or you could not paint it gray and do something slightly more exciting, because there's literally nothing less interesting than you could do other than paint the damn officer and call it a Stinger driver.
No,
it's a gray officer.
Nope, I like Stinger driver. I would do a Stinger driver custom. If I could find these things in the store, I'd probably already have one done.
I'm sure you would. The Stinger driver is boring.
Nope. I remember the thing as a kid and like, I like this. I like this a lot.
I don't know if anybody's watching this, but if you do and you cut it off because I insulted the Stinger driver, I'm not even sorry, because the Stinger driver is boring.
Disagree. Female Stinger driver is well, it's probably four or five down on my to-do list, but it's
is it still going to be a gray Cobra officer?
Yeah,
good. Don't make it a gray Cobra officer, and you're already winning.
No.
Boring ass. Yes. As for what else you could customize this into, well, really anything.
Yeah,
sure,
really,
Python Patrol.
I think Joey Toy shown us that it's just a matter of what you paint.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
They pretty much use 2 or 3, maybe 4 different bucks, and
right. I mean, this Cobra, I mean, they used it for the Fang driver or the Fang pilot, and I think the Trooper uses the same body with the different. That's all they need. That they could paint this in every color scheme under the sun, and it would still work. Yeah, I mean, it is. They could do it in a variety of different hues of blue, and it would still work.
Yeah,
because it is a utilitarian design, and I would actually like to see it in different color. I mean, Python Patrol's obvious, but like if they wanted to do a jungle deco or something, or if I could see customizing this into some of the versions of the Cobra officer that the Black Major made, and it would work beautifully for all of those.
Yeah, and that was the thing that I really liked about the Pursuit of Cobra Shock Trooper, is the utilitarian look up.
The Shock Trooper.
That I probably bought 30 of those things for customs, and I've used them.
and then the club used those parts about 30 times each. But this is another one of those. It's so military utility. They can do anything with it, and it would work.
Yeah.
Right. You could really customize it into anything, and it would be good. So, I'm not going to army build them. I don't have any troopers. I'm probably not going to get any troopers due to availability, if nothing else.
Yeah, I
am glad that I have this one. I do like the Fortnite-ness of it, so I'm pretty happy. So, on to Grunt, which is more interesting to me. I am I am a Grunt fanboy. He's
Like,
often
ain't
overlooked.
that the truth? When I saw they were releasing Grunt, I'm like, oh man, JD is going to shit. I think I texted you the second I saw that they were coming out with Grunt to ask you if you had seen that Grunt is getting.
I hadn't seen it yet, but I was elated because when people think of the early Joe line, Grunt is, even though he was the everyman trooper and basically up in the corner of all the Marvel comics early on,
Yes,
Grunt was there. He's the avatar character. He's the poster boy G.I. Joe character.
absolutely. I forgot about that, but you're 100% right.
I mean, he was the infantry trooper. He was the original green guy made into a Joe.
Yes.
He is on the list of important Joe characters. He almost never shows up. But of the early characters, he's one of my favorites.
Yeah, he never.
I love the character.
Really got much representation in comic books when I think about it.
He early on, Grunt got used alongside everybody else.
Yeah.
But later
that was
on,
it. I mean, he was. Well, wait a minute. Didn't he? Wasn't it him and Stalker that went to Sierra Gordo and to after Dr. Venom?
no, it was Breaker.
Yeah,
it was Breaker. Grunt was a character that, because he's the everyman, because he's so nondescript, I understand why he gets overlooked a lot. But I always liked him, I think, because he was more of an underdog. Because later on, just a few years later,
which one
he was replaced. What's up?
I'm trying to think which one like retired from the Joes.
It was Grunt. He went to engineering school after. And then he came back later after engineering school with his girlfriend Lola.
Yeah.
And then I think he stuck around for a while. But after the original line of books, because when the first 10 issues came out, they were all the same Joe characters from the original. They didn't have any other. Issue 11 brought in some of the newer Joes, but for the first 10 issues, they were all kind of utilitarian. They went on a bunch of the different missions, but they all had their specialties, but a lot of times they got used interchangeably. Huh?
For as little as they had to work with, those were good comic books.
Oh, no, they were great. And I'm not criticizing.
Yeah,
I'm saying
if you haven't read them, you're missing something.
Yeah, I mean,
like classic.
Yeah, I mean, and they are. But like Grunt, Short Fuse, Zap, that was their last time to shine early on in the book, because once the 83, 84 figures started coming out, a lot of those characters got overshadowed. You know, Stalker continued to be used all the time. Rock and Roll showed up frequently. But a lot of the other early guys kind of got, like, Footloose was replaced in 80. He replaced Grunt completely as an infantry trooper in 85. But I love Grunt as a character. There's not a lot to him. He's open-ended. You can do anything you want with him. But I always thought that actually, he was like quietly a badass. Like he'd have to be.
Yeah.
Like I always imagine that he's the kind of character that the Delta Force would go after. Like he was probably one of the early recruits by Hawk for the Joe team, because you need the everyman, you need the soldier, you need the guy that'll go anywhere and do anything and get the job done. Yeah. Well, I feel like that's what Grunt does. And I was very happy. Once we saw that Stalker came out and had this brand new sculpt from head to toe, I said, holy shit, I need them to repeat that 12 more times as other characters. No, I don't need it to be repainted as as Scarlet. No, I'm saying I needed to be repainted as Tan Grunt. No, I'm kidding. I would actually like to see these parts reused. I'd actually like to see this same body used for Airborne with a flak vest on. Whether I think this sculpt is so well done that I think they could paint this in any color they wanted and it would work. Because I've already seen a lineup of customs that somebody did where they did Hawk, Rock and Roll, Short Fuse, Zap, and I think, Clutch. For Clutch, they used the 25th anniversary vest. And then I think for Rock and Roll, they used Marauder ammo belts. But everything else is just paint because that's all the original 13 Joes were.
Yeah.
10 of those 13 were all the same basic body with different torsos, different accoutrement sculpted to it. You could almost say that Flash and Grand Slam were too, because they were just green guys. That's what they were. They were green guys. Snake Eyes stood out because he was wearing all black. Scarlet stood out because, well, she was wearing a leotard for a workout and she was in gray and tan, and she was a girl, that different. But all the rest of the lineup all wore a special ops military sweater and military fatigue pants. That's exactly what Grunt is. And it works beautifully. It works better.
That they used for Stalker then.
Exactly the same. Same web gear, same holster, same canteen. Everything is exactly the same. And now I badly want to see ammo belts, flak vests, and visored helmets, and safety pads in orange. This Grunt figure is, for a character that's as simple as he is, since the original figure, Hasbro's never been able to get Grunt right. I don't know why. They can't get him right. Grunt version 2 was tan. He came with that shitty glider. But Grunt version 3 was that weird yellow pants, brown leisure looking. I don't know what that was, but they can't get Grunt right. The 25th versions were all shit repaints of the original 25th, original 13 body. And Grunt, he sucked. He didn't have any new parts. And then there was a
yeah.
What's up?
I'm looking at version 3 figure. Yeah, it's hitting.
Oh, from 1991. Yeah, that's not a good Grunt figure.
Mm-mm.
It's not a good version of Grunt. I don't know who they originally wanted it to be, but I don't think they meant it to be Grunt.
The colors look familiar and I can't place it. I mean, this can bother me because it looks like, I don't know, it looks like one of the drivers.
What I really wish they'd done in the original line, 1993 Duke came along and he was a Desert Ops version of Duke. And that same figure was supposed to get repainted in green in 1995 and it never happened. But I really wish they'd just done Grunt. Make that figure Grunt. He's not Duke. Make him Grunt. I don't know why they didn't. There was a Grunt figure from one of the 50th sets that was just a bunch of green repainted parts, which would have been fine, except that, again, lazy repaint. This vest is not the one that came with the original, the Grunt figure from the 50th set. I used the vest off one of those ill-articulated retaliation drivers. Because I wanted to find a use for it, and I didn't like the generic gear that they give in Grunt. But I mean, for a while, this was my utility Grunt, and I was fine with it. And then I got this figure, and this guy, you know what? He can, I can flush it. It's no longer Grunt. This is Grunt.
Yeah, I think that's what I like it. Because I would like to have one. I like it. I don't, and I can't put my finger on it. And I think it's because this is Grunt.
It is Grunt. His head sculpt is completely nondescript.
Yeah.
Exactly as it should be. He no longer has the weird thinning hair that the vintage version had.
Yeah.
And he no longer looks like he's angry because somebody's in the bathroom and he can't get in there. Because Zap and Grand Slam use the same angry head sculpt, but it never really. It was just a dude who was having a bad day. I mean, it worked as Grunt, but I'm glad that they didn't do this.
So
I mean, he still looks like.
See what he came with.
Yeah, he's still super serious. But all right, let's see. I'm going to start with the obvious, and.
Uh-oh, JD lost a part already. Man.
Oh, I got it. I dropped it. We're going to start with the obvious. His helmet is a completely new version of the original 13 helmet. Jesus Christ, hang on.
It's not a recast of the one that came with Crank.
No, it's not. No, this is a completely new sculpt. Fuck, I hate vertical blinds. God, I hate vertical blinds. All right. No, it is 100% newly sculpted. It's a perfect update to the original.
And it has holes in the side, which
yes, it does.
Kind of lends credence to the fact that we're going to see somebody with the visor at some point.
Yes, it does. And yep. But yeah, it's got the ridge on the. Yeah, it's got the ridge just like the original should. But yeah, it's got the holes in the side, and it's nice and soft. It's stretchy. It's not at all fragile. So it fits beautifully, easily over the head. It can be adjusted. It's not super tight because the original 13 helmet in the 25th line, often it was actually too small, so it didn't fit properly.
And if you customize these, you got paint rubs with them.
Yes, but whereas this, nope, it fits perfectly on his head, and I imagine it'll probably fit perfectly on a lot of heads.
Yeah.
In fact. So yes, the head sculpt. It's got the slightly bigger ridge on the just like it had in the original art that Herb Trimpe did. But yeah, from head to toe, new Grunt. His accessories, he's got an update of his original backpack.
See, I don't remember him coming with the backpack.
Oh, he did, but it was.
I didn't have one, so.
It was really small, and it's less of a backpack and more of like a knapsack. Like for an overnighter or something. This is just as simple a design, but it's bigger and less dainty.
And it
really actually looks like.
I really like. Oh yeah. I remember that. Didn't who else came with that backpack?
The accessory packs used that backpack a few times, I think.
Maybe that's why I had one.
Yeah. Yeah, because I think it was available in brown and tan, maybe in the accessory packs. But yeah, this backpack is just as simple a design, but it functions as a rucksack.
Oh yeah, no, I really like the sculpt of that backpack.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I mean, otherwise, let me see. He's got the same all new pistol sculpt that Stalker came with. It's flexible, but less flexible than the one that came with the Cobra Officer. But it fits beautifully in the holster, just like it does for Stalker, and it's nice and snug. It's not gonna come out. It's not gonna fall out, and I'm not gonna take it out because then I'll lose it. And he's got the knife that he's got the combat knife that will plug into, it will slide into the loop on his on his gear, just like Stalker does.
Yeah,
Again, nice and snug. It's not going to fall out.
Gear like that.
Yeah, I know you're all about some removable gear, and I love the fact that it's removable, but I don't have to consider gluing it in because it's not going to fall out.
Yeah,
like I said, it's nice and snug without stretching it out, so that's good. His last accessory is all he really needs. It's an M16, the classic military, like when you think of an army weapon, what do you do? Yeah, you think of the M16.
Yep.
The original Grunt came with the Vietnam style M16, the design with kind of had like the bumps across the top, but the barrel was smooth otherwise. Where this has kind of the more updated, I can't see it. But it's got this. Oh, I can't see it at all. Man, camera in this computer sucks. But it's a more modern M16 where it's got like a rib cage all the way across and the sculpt is beautiful though. The scale is beautiful. Look at that. It's not oversized. It looks like the size of an M16 that I carried when I was in the Army on the rifle range.
How flexible?
And flexible, but I like the look of it. So while I will replace it, I won't put it in the fodder bin with everything else because it looks like it should. So now I can't put it back in his hand. Whatever, curses. But so yeah, that is Retro Grunt. If you have stores that carry stuff, unlike my Walmart, go look for this one. Maybe my second one. Perhaps maybe I'll share it with Hawkeye. Perhaps, maybe. I really hope this figure gets repainted a lot for all the original other 13.
If they continue the line that it will, because it seems to be a decent buck.
I hope so, because I can't. This is the most perfect Grunt figure they ever could have made. I'm so happy about this.
It's simplistically beautiful.
Yes, it really is. All the details are there that need to be, and it's
nothing excessive, nothing like what did
nope.
They do this? It's a nice Grunt figure.
Yep, it is exactly what it needs to be without going off book. And a lot of times I want them to think outside the box, but not for something like a retro style Grunt. Just update the original. That's what they did. Same with Stalker. Update the original. That's what they did.
So much better than the 25th anniversary one.
Dude, the 25th anniversary figure, the torso was too short. The legs were too skinny. The arms were, the hands were all misshapen and weird. Yeah. And because they were originally sculpted to be gloves, they kept repainting them as bare hands. So everybody had like wrinkly skin on their hands. Very strange.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
But this is, and he's got the wrists. And again, he's got the hinged wrists. So he'll be able to hold just about any weapon I think he put in his hand. But
I like the hinged wrists. I think that's one of the biggest and best improvements in articulation in a G.I. Joe.
Yeah, because I've got a I don't know if it's an M4 or what from a BBI figure here in this drawer, because it was with a custom but and yeah, you can hold it because of the articulation. I mean the hand articulation and the elbow articulation. Right. Yep, he can hold it in two hands, no problem, at the ready. It's not bendy because it's not stupid, weird, flexible plastic the BBI used. So,
right.
Yes, he's Grunt. He's perfect. I love this figure. As for what I would customize it into, my God, anything, literally anything.
Yeah, any of the original 13.
Yes. So, yeah, there is nothing to complain about with this figure. it's the grunt figure that I've been wishing for, that just they never got right until now. So
was there
yes,
a version 4?
What's up?
What, did they do a version 4 of Grunt?
Yeah, but I think it was in the new Sculpt line, and he was wearing a tank top and he had bare arms. No, I take that back. It was the Stars and Stripes.
Toys R Us.
Yeah, it was the Stars and Stripes Forever set, the repaint set that they did in 1997.
Yep, it's horrible.
And it was mostly shit. Never mind the quality control, but yeah, Grunt was painted with a badly camouflaged upper half and then this weird green color for his pants. And
pretty bad.
Yeah. So, and then later on, there was a new Sculpt version. Like I said, it was a tank top with a holstered pistol and huge bare arms.
Yeah.
He had massive bare arms and a tiny head.
Yeah, no, that's horrible.
And then the 25th Grunt it was a mess. It was a repaint from a Toys R Us set, 3-pack. That was just a repaint of the.
Yeah, that was the Spy Troops. The version 5 and 6 were Spy Troops.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he came with the weird Cobra claws.
Yeah.
But he had the bare arms, so it was like, but why though?
But why? Exactly.
Like I said, for such a simplistic character, I don't know why they've always had trouble doing proper updates of him. And then we got this, and
then there's
as a Grunt fanboy, I'm
like
elated.
Civilian attire.
Huh?
There's like a version 8, which is civilian attire.
Oh, from the comic pack.
Yeah.
Issue number 4 of the original Joe comic. There was a paramilitary group run by a guy called Vance Winfield. Grunt infiltrated them, so he's wearing a red fatigue suit. I forgot that they actually made Grunts in the comic packs. They didn't give us a proper Grunt update in the comic packs. No, we got the weird Vance Wingfield version.
I completely forgot about that.
I did too, until you just odd choices. So other than
the 25th anniversary.
Yeah, it was terrible. Yeah, it was a cast off and some Toys R Us 3-pack. And then the club gave us, in the figure subscription service, gave us a tan repaint of that shitty 25th figure. And I'm like, no, why? He's a green. Why the hell is this so hard? Well, now we've got the perfect Grunt, and I'm a happy fanboy. So,
no, the 12th version 12's not bad.
Oh, that's not bad, but it's more of an MP than anything else. I mean, but you're right. As a follow up to the very first Grunt, you're right. It is the best one we've gotten, and that's pretty sad. I forgot Grunt was even in the Rise of Cobra line. Completely forgot he was.
I don't think I've ever even seen that figure.
I think he was more widely available in gray as the Pit Trooper. Yeah, I completely forgot that they even did Grunt in the Rise of Cobra line.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing that figure at all.
But anyways, Ryan, thanks for talking me through this review.
All right, yeah, no, I think that's definitely. I've not been a big fan of the retro line just because I hate repaints.
Well, until now, until Stalker and the Trooper, they weren't putting any effort into it. Yeah. And now all of a sudden they're putting effort into it and they make perfect figures. Perfect figures.
Yeah. No, I really like what they're doing. I still hate the fact that, number one, they're impossible to find. Number two, the scalpers are charging an insane price for them. And number three, that the card, the packaging is just garbage, and it's just it's gonna make these things insanely expensive for collectors in the future because you're not going to see very many of them in mint condition.
Yeah, I was gonna say, good luck if you're a mint on card collector. get them and put them in a case immediately.
Yeah.
Or else you're gonna look at it wrong at home, and it's gonna crease the card.
Yeah, you be careful putting it in a case.
Yeah, that too. But
all right, I think that's about all we got for that. I got to get going here.
Yeah, Brian, like I said, thanks for guiding me through these. I like doing reviews, but not by myself. So
fair enough. All right. So as always, thanks for watching. Please do all that fun social media stuff. Like, share, subscribe, and comment below. And as always, thank you for watching.